Good evening. I'm Sharice Gibson. Katie has the night off. Well, thankfully, downpours in St. Charles Parish today did not cause any more flooding. But for folks who live there, the worry continues. After a heated parish council meeting last night, folks are still left wondering how the parish is responding to repeated flooding. Mike McDaniel begins our coverage tonight.
On a rainy Tuesday, piles of debris from weekend flooding sit outside homes along Ormond Boulevard in Destrehan.
We don't have the drainage systems that we need.
Those piles have folks who call St. Charles Parish home calling for action to stop repeated flooding because of rain.
We need action.
To help with that action, Parish President Matthew Jewell says infrastructure projects to ease drainage are underway.
On either side of Hill Heights, you will see equipment this week in those ditches, clearing trees and getting ready to move this dirt out of there.
Monday night, a big topic of conversation at the parish council meeting was a proposal from Jewell to put a moratorium on new subdivision developments to allow the parish time to get a drainage master plan in place. That moratorium failed.
Do you think the moratorium that was proposed would have helped the situation?
At this time, no, it will not help. We need immediate action right now.
We've got to figure out a win-win situation.
Councilwoman at large Wendy Benedetto voted with the majority to table it. While she does agree a study should also be done, the money and time it would take for completion won't help the immediate need.
If we have rain next week, it's very possible these people will flood again because we haven't found the root of the problem.
Jewell did present a list of infrastructure projects Monday, some of which Benedetto says are old projects that never moved forward.
We've been negotiating the scope of those engineering contracts now for a couple of weeks to make sure that everything is in order before we push forward. I know that's not what a lot of people want to hear, but these projects have to be engineered before we get them done.
Whatever the project, parish leaders hope to give folks relief when Mother Nature strikes again. Mike McDaniel, Eyewitness News.